A man wakes up from a coma and finds out his wife contaminated him. David suffers from sickle cell anemia. He spent a lot of time in hospitals. His condition worsened unexpectedly. His health deteriorated despite medications. He was able to walk on his own when he first arrived at the hospital, surprising everyone. However, blood sugar and blood pressure levels revealed serious problems. He was admitted for observation and was initially responsive during visits from family and friends. However, his condition deteriorated gradually, beginning with excessive tiredness and later speech difficulties. He was eventually transferred to the intensive care unit. For David's family, the days spent in the ICU were agonizing. Visits were limited, and he was frequently too weak to receive them. They could only observe him sleeping and pray for his recovery. Weeks passed in this manner, with the doctors assuring the family that David was receiving the best possible care. Despite his appearance, they insisted that his condition had improved since his initial arrival. The family became increasingly concerned about David's health as the test results revealed no definitive answers. David's grandchildren were particularly affected by his condition. They cherished their time with him, and seeing him confined to a hospital bed broke their hearts. They were devastated to learn that David had suffered a stroke. During their visits, they would cry as they touched his asleep form, clearly missing his presence. David's wife, Victoria, appeared unfazed by his condition. She would hum their favorite song while sitting beside him, seemingly unaffected by the distressing circumstance. Victoria had always seen David's ability to recover from frightening situations, and she hoped that he would do so again. But there was a part of her that was scared. She, like the rest of the family, sensed that this was a unique situation. For Victoria and their family, David's coma was a new and distressing situation. They had never faced anything as serious as this in their long marriage. The initial panic occurred when one of David's grandchildren noticed his long-term inactivity, leading to a desperate call for medical help. The following months were filled with sadness and uncertainty for the family. The grandchildren, in particular, struggled with the emotional toll, with some experiencing sadness severe enough to require withdrawal from school. It was a difficult period for everyone involved. Victoria, despite her outward strength, was suffering from deep internal pain as her husband's life hung in the balance. She blamed herself for his condition but kept her true emotions hidden. Determined to share her burden, she approached a doctor, suspecting they were withholding crucial information. After confronting the doctor and uncovering the truth, she was astonished to learn that her husband had been contaminated. Victoria couldn't understand why anyone would want to hurt her husband. As she sat by his bedside in the hospital, the question haunted her. She discussed her ideas with the doctor, who was both surprised and thankful for the information. While the doctors made use of Victoria's expertise, she sought forgiveness from her husband and struggled with her own feelings of guilt. The doctor eventually confirmed Victoria's suspicions through test results. They changed the treatment plan in the hopes of bringing her husband out of the coma. However, the disappointing news revealed her partial responsibility for the situation. As the doctors prepared to change the treatment, Victoria concentrated on finding a lawyer. With her suspicions confirmed, legal action was required. She needed to be prepared because the case was likely to go to court. Victoria informed the lawyer of her suspicion. David had been contaminated, not by her or anyone else in the family, but by the pharmaceutical company that manufactured his medications. The lawyer was taken aback by the revelation and assisted Victoria in preparing for the upcoming legal case. The doctors obtained the medications that were suspected of contaminating David. According to lab results, these medications had expired and contained toxic chemicals that had been banned for many years. Selling such medications was illegal and unethical, and those involved would face serious legal consequences. With all the necessary information in hand, the doctors performed a procedure to remove the toxic substances from David's body. Victoria anxiously waited near the operating room during the lengthy procedure. Thankfully, the operation was successful, and David regained consciousness after a few days. Although he appeared weaker, everyone, especially his grandchildren, were overjoyed to have him back. However, Victoria was absent during the celebration. Concerned about Victoria's absence, David asked the doctors about her. They explained everything that had happened, including Victoria blaming herself for his condition, despite not being responsible. Victoria had been informed about David's recovery and was eager to see him, but she couldn't overcome her guilt. She felt responsible for giving him harmful medications and for poisoning him. However, her doctors and lawyer, as well as the police, did not feel the same way. When they first arrived, Victoria had the irrational fear that they were here to take her away. Instead, they were there to get her statement. To her relief, instead of being blamed, Victoria became an important witness in a major case. She exposed an unlawful operation involving the sale of fake and expired medications. Her testimony led to the arrest of the pharmacy owner, who was part of a larger unlawful organization. The police uncovered evidence linking them to other instances of harmful medications being sold. With the involvement of the authorities, Victoria's guilt faded away. After Victoria visited the police station, she rushed to the hospital to see her husband, who was awake and active. They embraced and shed tears of joy, grateful to be together again. In the following weeks, David fully recovered and was discharged from the hospital. As a victim of the harmful medications, David received a year's supply of safe medications and financial compensation to cover the family's expenses during the difficult months. Finally, the family found happiness again after a challenging period. David and Victoria remained close, appreciating their second chance at a happy life. The grandchildren returned to school, and their grandparents' recovery and Victoria's bravery made them popular figures in their school.